We are going to finalize this section by running a validation. Plant3D has integrated a tool that is going to allow you to validate your P&Id drawing. This tool is going to identify errors, inconsistencies, or stuff that you have missed in your P&Id. I strongly suggest that you run the validation since many of you are probably starting with the software. I think it's a good habit because this validation is going to help you to catch errors that they are not visible. So we're going to start to run the validation first. I want you to pay attention to this configuration, validate config. You first are going to click here, and you're going to see that this is what pretty much is the configuration. This is what Plant3D is going to detect, and it's going to flag, is going to warn you that something is wrong here. Size mismatches, spec mismatches, and all kind of stuff that is not supposed to be found in your P&Id. Flow direction conflicts, and so on and so forth. I deactivated the 3D model. You probably have these boxes activated. You can deactivate this because right now we don't have a 3D model, so some inconsistencies are going to be found because you don't have a 3D model, so they don't have some of the P&Id elements. They're not going to have a reference. So I uncheck the boxes, but you can leave it check if you want. The only thing is you are going to get some warnings extra in your validation. But I deactivated all the boxes here, just for the 3D model. Now we're going to run our validation, and it's going to validate all the P&Ids. I don't think there is a way to detect this, to detect just only one, to detect errors in one drawing. Basically, if we check our P&Id 003, we're going to have very minor errors. They're just telling me, this is just telling me that I have unlabeled annotations, which is, I'm okay with this, so I can decide to select this and ignore. This is not labeled, this is unlabeled as well. But we saw that this strainer, I think, cannot be tagged, yeah. So I cannot assign a tag, so this is just telling me that these elements are not tagged or they don't have a label, so I'm going to decide to ignore them. And errors marked as ignore. So for the video, I also decided to ignore some errors that they were basically a polyline. I wanted to keep this polyline, so it's not, I don't want the software to think that is an error. The leaders, I also put them as ignore. And the one that I just did. So right now, basically, we don't have errors. All the errors we have marked. We have marked those errors as ignored. But for example, if we decide to, if we misplace this valve, say for example, instead of be connected here, we miss the spot and we place it there. It's very easy to do that actually when you're working with lines and elements. It's very common to misplace or to miss the right spot for the connections or the elements. So we're going to, we can either, I will just do it again, maybe it's better. I'm going to close that and I'm going to run validation again. Now we're going to go to P&Id 03, and as you can see now, this valve is coming as an error. It's telling me all components must be connected to a schematic line. So this is a way to catch errors. It's pretty useful. You strongly, like I said, I strongly suggest to use it when you finish your modifications. So this is a good tool. You can always change the rules here if you want to ignore some of the stuff. But this part is I think it's pretty common. So I wouldn't uncheck this because this is common mistakes that we make when we are doing P&Ids. The next part is going to be to work again with the data manager. Now we are going to export this list to an Excel file. So right now, like I said, we are right now in current drawing data, but we can also check the entire P&Id project data. So it's going to consider all the P&Id drawings. But right now, I just wanted to work with the P&Id we made, so I'm going to stay with the current drawing. And this is something very useful. I'm going to show you that it's possible to import this database into an Excel file. The only thing that you have to do is to say, for example, we want to say that we don't have this amount of tanks or equipment. We have like 100 or 200. So we want to modify this as a batch or something quick. Then instead of going through the elements one by one, we can export the list. Well, I'm going to put it in the desktop. Save. And this is just to tell you if the node that you're going to select is going to be, well, the child nodes. Sometimes you have subcategories, so when you select a node, it's going to go into the very last subcategory. But for now, I'm going to select active node only. So it's going to export the file. And then we're going to can go to the desktop, and we are going to open the file. So as you can see, we have the equipment list. Right now, we cannot change the Excel file because it is protected, so we need to unprotect the Excel file. You have to come to review and to click unprotect sheet. Once it's done, we can add information. We can add, for example, the supplier. We can add, for example, here ITSA and copy this as a batch. We can add some material here. We can put carbon steel, put stainless steel. This is just an example. Then we can hit save. And what we are going to do next is we're going to import this list. So we're going to integrate the changes that we have made in Excel into the CAD file. Now please choose import. and you're going to go to this file, and you're going to select this and click OK. As you can see, the part that is yellow is the new information or the changes. It represents the changes. So we are going to see that all the modifications within the Excel file, they have been integrated. We can go one by one, or we can accept all. In this case, I'm going to accept all, and there you go. You have your modifications from Excel directly into your CAD file. There's many different ways to manage this. Some companies, they prefer to have the control out of the CAD file, and they prefer to have the information push through the CAD file. And this is because sometimes the process engineers, they want to keep the control of the process data. So they decide to have an Excel file, and the Excel file is going to push the data through the CAD file, but it's always going to be available in Data Manager. Close the window. And this is the wrap up for this section. There is other tools that you can explore yourself, but basically this is, I would say, the most basic workflow that you are going to have when you design P&IDs.